another episode of the M.I.C.S Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matt. We have Jeremiah.
Hello.
And we have, by popular demand, Daniel. He has returned. Right. Today's topic that we are talking about is the rat race. The rat race, a lot of people don't know, but we are running it right now, which is the get up, go to work, come home, get up, go to work, go home, situation, everyday life type situation. And we call it the rat race. It's not really our term, but it is it's the situation where we're just going around in a circle where we never really get out of this financial thing that we're in. We constantly are just paying bills and coming home and try to live life as best we can, but we never get out of this everyday struggle of working. So it's a summary, of course. We're going to go into depth about it, but as African American people, men and women, we're not taught anything else, financial literacy and things like that, which kind of keeps us in this loop of not getting anywhere, So, we thought we'd talk about it. We'll try to keep it entertaining, of course. It's not just going to be a lecture about anything. Of course, we're not financial advisors. We're in the process of, getting out the rat race ourselves. So,
Yeah, so I'll take it off. I'll start it off like everybody, I guess, can actually agree with like the fact that they've at some point in time gotten another job, bonus, raise, something like that.
mm-hmm.
And normally you would think, okay, I'm making more money, so I should be able to make it ahead in life. Like I should be able to get me a new house, buy me a new car, probably have more food in the fridge. But then it's like the more money we're making, it's like it seems almost like we're getting poorer or we're not really getting anywhere ahead. It's like you're just maintaining, especially nowadays. I don't know if I remember not too long ago they had eggs. Eggs were like out of this world expensive.
Yeah.
So it's like even if you would have got yourself a bonus or I wouldn't say bonus because that's like for some people like a one
time a year or something.
But like if you got yourself a raise, like that price of eggs done took away the entire raise.
Yeah.
So it's like, but then I've even thought about it and I'm like, well, if I want to try and make it ahead in life, because we be seeing all the rich people, the Bill Gateses and the Mark Zuckerbergs and, the movie stars, athletes and stuff.
Yeah.
Those people rich. And I guess the athletes, I guess you could probably say.
Well, the athletes.
Yeah, with them, it's like, if you can play ball or do whatever sport or, hold a tune or whatever for like those music artists or whatever. Okay, that's kind of.
Even in there's someone in a rat race too.
Oh, yeah. Because then for them, they just, instead of you struggling to pay for like a Camry or something, you trading that Camry for a Lambo or a Bugatti.
But also just if you're a sports person, seasons, when you're in season, you're playing you're playing at that time, you're making money, and then your off season, you have to be able to carry yourself through off season and things like that. Also, it's like if you're an artist, you're hot, but then, another artist comes out and then now everybody's paying attention to them. So you always got to somewhat stay relevant in order to stay at the top and still have a career. So in a sense, they're still in it, but they're not, of course, they're not on the everyday space where people are living a paycheck to paycheck, or they may not be living paycheck to paycheck, but they're still not living to where they can just live free, like wake up and kind of just want to go on vacation or whatever it is.
Still keep playing whatever sport
they still
it is,
gotta
doing whatever concert.
Car payments still are due. Kids still need clothes and food and things like that. And some of those are like everyday struggle type scenarios where, you just got to keep the lights on, and sometimes things happen. And when those things happen, it can be detrimental to your pockets because, we don't have, you never really have a lot of money for those situations. So, yeah, they're living in a rat race, but it's just on a higher scale. They depending on how they live, they live a lavish type of lifestyle. Then they can, they could be just back to where we are, which you see some artists and actors and things like that, fall from grace, and then you'll see them like working at the grocery store or
that
whatever.
guy from the Cosby Show.
Yeah, the guy from the Cosby Show.
Was Elvin?
Elvin on the show. Yeah, he was working
from,
at
Different Strokes. The white girl.
Oh yeah. The main girl they moved into the Drummond's family.
Yeah,
the girl.
she was the sister.
Mm-hmm.
Like she ended up doing like some regular people jobs too.
Yeah.
You be sitting there like, wait a minute, these people are on TV.
Yeah.
Like how they end up working at your neighborhood clothing store?
Yeah.
It's interesting because y'all kind of went quickly to what I was thinking about because because for a second, like when I was thinking about the rat race, I was thinking like, okay, once you get rich, you're out of it. But like y'all said, like if you're depending on what type of job you have, like if you're a celebrity, you have to kind of still stay relevant.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, when are you officially out of the rat race? And as y'all was talking, I'm thinking like, I don't know, I think it's different levels of like being in the rat race, but I don't know if I feel like I don't know how that will look when you actually can say that you're out of it for real, because like you said, like there's certain celebrities, like you got to stay relevant if you're, an artist. Or I remember like with the writer's strike, there was a lot of actors that wasn't working. They act like they was going broke because they wasn't in movies and stuff like that. And I was just like, wow, this person is like, even like Taraji talked about it a couple of times. She make it seem like she's so broke, but sometimes the way she talk about certain because like because she wasn't getting paid fairly for a while, and you'll think like these people like in your mind, as a fan, you thinking they're rich, they're out of the rat race because they're on all these movies, they seem successful, they're on the red carpet, but then you see like they really not getting paid that much, And
but I think those are different though, because those are individuals. I always be like the top people of whatever, men or women, their voices are louder than the people at the bottom. So, for instance, like Taraji, not she's a great actor and all that stuff. She might be a great human or whatever. I don't know her personally or whatever, but she's complaining about her situation, but she may have stuff. But she just wants what
other people
top people have. And not to say that she probably deserves it. Probably, she does deserve it because she's a great actor. But, she might have other things, property and things like that, but it's just feeling like you're not getting paid what you're worth.
Yeah, your value.
And that's what that is. I feel like with that. And then sometimes those voices are louder than the people at the bottom. So what happens is the people at the bottom start to say, hey, look, yeah. And it's not realistic to them. So for instance, you have, the pay gap situation where, some women believe, a lot of women believe that they don't get paid as much as men. And when, from a man's standpoint, every place I worked at, there's always just a standard pay for everybody. I've never seen it where, they don't have it already posted or they tell you what you're getting coming in. So this really doesn't apply to everybody. But if you hear it from someone up top, which affects those people, salary people, the people that get salaries or the doctors or actors or whatever, it affects them because they can actually negotiate their price.
Yeah, true.
But the people at the bottom start saying, yeah, we're not getting that. It's like, not for you though. They may have a problem, but they don't see the difference between that.
Yeah.
Is that their struggles up there, they're louder. You probably hear them more. Like you're gonna hear because they're on TV, they're talking about it, whatever it is. But the people down here, we're like, hey, I ain't never thought about that. Maybe I am getting treated differently. No, they are, and since they're louder, they got a microphone and people see them. Now you feel like you can lump yourself in there with them, which isn't realistic.
And whoever got the biggest microphone.
Yeah, whoever got the biggest microphone, they get more recognition. So it's like if there's a lot of women up top saying, hey, I want what the men up here are getting, the women at the bottom say, yeah, I want what them. It was like, hey, we get paid the same though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see what you're talking about. You get paid this much, I get paid that much. So it's a disconnect, I feel like, with that. But not to get off topic, but yeah, it is similar. It's like you do look at people on TV and see them differently. Like, hey, you don't really see them struggling and stuff like that. But you always got to somewhat stay relevant. And the rat race situation is more so of those people also being financially literate. Because you think of these basketball rappers, they're coming straight out of the streets into a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And so they start buying all the stuff that they see on TV. Oh, look, I got the Lambo, I got the mansion, and all that stuff has an upkeep to it. And if you're not thinking, oh, wait, before I start buying all this stuff, I need to start finding a way to maintain it if I lose my career. That's not what normally people do. They kind of like just look at, oh, now I can buy the mansion, I can get this. But the first thing you should probably start doing is like, okay, now start investing, getting passive income to supplement the things that, you know, you're going to need. So if you can get to the point where you have more investment in passive income to where that money's working for you, that if you left or you got fired or you wasn't hot at that time, all of those investments that you invested in can take care of all of the things that you need to run your life, then you losing your job or not being hot isn't as dang man, I'm not going to be
that
where I'm not going to be able to live the lifestyle I'm living. And so us at the bottom are never taught that. We're never taught to start investing in things that can appreciate over time, or add value or make money for you while you're sleeping and things like that. So we're not taught stocks and bonds, and we're not taught to try to buy real estate for the purpose of bringing in money to work for us. We're looking at, hey, buy yourself a house, which puts us more into debt, which isn't like a bad thing to buy your own house, but it is a thing that you should look at as it's still a bill. It's still upkeep that you're going to have to maintain on that house. When you live in an apartment, you don't have to worry about that. Not saying you should always live in an apartment. You should try to get a house. It's probably cheaper to have a house because your mortgage is lower, but it's just to say that these things we don't look at from a standpoint of assets and liabilities. We kind of just think of everything as an upgrade and we're moving up, but we don't think about how we can what happens if we don't have that job? Because, houses are locking you into 30-year mortgages. And so what you made at that time, they're giving you the house on that at that price. If you lose your job and you make that much money and then you got to go get another job and you make less, it don't matter. You're still got to pay whatever you was paying.
There's something I was thinking about with the house thing you was talking about. Using that specifically.
I knew you was going to go back to the houses. Yeah, I was like, oh no, he meant your houses.
Yeah. Because I would say it also goes with everything technically, because it's like, but I'm just using a house as an example. But I think there's what I would say is like hidden costs. Because like, let's say, you saved up enough, you got your 20% down payment, you're doing like a traditional loan or something on the house. Or let's say you even get like, I think, what is it,
FHA?
Yeah, that. And you get like the 3% or whatever. And you get the house. Okay, now you got the house. Or even if you had, but let's say you even had the money to buy the house outright, like cash. Yeah. Okay, you got the house, but then it's like, what happens like when the roof needs to be repaired or replaced every 15 years? Yeah. Or like your water heater goes out and you need a new one, or piping, plumbing issues, taxes, all those things are like hidden costs. So most people just look at the house, the cost of the house. Okay, I want the house. Okay, I got the money for the house. Okay, boom, knocked out the house. But then you got all these other costs, and all that stuff's expensive. None of it's like $50 or whatever. Yeah. Replacing a roof ain't cheap.
But that's where they think of, they put that in there. It's stuff also that you just don't think about. It's like the people at the top. I mean, this more goes into conspiracy theory more. So I guess because I believe, and this ain't conspiracy to me. This is what I believe. I believe that they bake this into it. So what happens is all of that, what you're saying, your roof caves in or whatever, they're betting on that happening. We can always make stuff to where they don't really fall apart, but it doesn't make any sense financially, like for the the structure.
What do they
Like,
call it? Planned obsolescence.
yeah, they kind of make sure that it can fall apart. You know, we could make it with like the most indestructible piece of material that where it ain't ever gonna fall apart. But how do you make money? You're building roofs and stuff like that.
We gotta get your roof repaired.
Yeah, and what happens is it helps us. It helps us like a chain thing where it happens where it helps the bank out, because what happens is people can't afford it. You're right, that's an expensive thing to do. So what the bank does is hoping that you refinance or you take out equity out of your house to fix your own house. They're hoping that you say, oh yeah, well I need this money. It's a lot. Well, you know what you could do is we'll give you. Well, you know, you can borrow from your house. You know, you got this much equity, which locks you into the loan longer because now you've taken more money out. And so now you got to rebuild that back into there. And it's a never ending cycle of where you're fixing things with money that you technically don't have at the moment. Just, you know, you're kind of getting like, it's the rat race situation, whatever we're talking about. You get
people talking about, oh, I took out a second mortgage.
Yeah,
on my house.
and then you get back into that rat race. There's a way to always bake you or kind of lure you back into it in a sense. I think people aren't always conscientious of what they're doing. And this also applies to like governmental things too, because you think of the minimum wage and how much the minimum wage is. If the government wanted people to not be struggling, it can just make it law. Like, you know, none of this has to happen. They can create a scenario where there is nobody struggling right at this moment. They can make school free. They can do, you know, they could do all of that stuff. Like if they just ordered it, you know what I mean? You know, I think with Habitat for Humanity is run by the government. They own more houses than anyone else. There's so many houses you can buy from them, but they have empty houses that they could just give to people. And then also you think of housing in itself. Public housing and things like that. Why couldn't they just give those to those people instead of having them, you know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. Or
give them a situation where they can buy into the place that you pay it over time and then you own the place.
No,
we're just going to
rent to own.
Yeah, in a sense, but I'm saying the government giving everybody housing, you know, in a sense. They own all these houses. Why don't they just, you know, and it's not saying a handout, because I feel like everyday regular people that live in these places go to work every day, pay taxes. Why isn't it that enough? You're paying taxes. Okay, keep the tax money. Instead of giving the tax money, oh, no, we're taking this out for your house. And people might be like, oh, you know what? Since it's going towards something that benefits me, I can physically see it happening, benefiting me, because a lot of things you'll be like, where do my tax dollars go? Oh, you know, we paved the road over here, but you got potholes all up and down your street. But then we fixed the highway bridge over there. It's like, okay, but we spent $500 billion on that. That doesn't cost that much. You never really see the where your tax dollars are going. But if the government really wanted to, they could kind of just, okay, you're paying this much. This is going towards the thing that you're living in, and you can physically see it. You see the upkeep, people come around taking care of the grounds and all that stuff. It'd be a different thing, but I'm getting off topic. But what I'm saying
I knew. So as soon as you mention houses,
you know, but I'm saying, but that is part. that is a segment of the rat race.
Yeah,
but it is baked into it. But I think it's that you see these scenarios where one thing is really helping out the other thing. You take out a separate mortgage, or you take out you take some equity out of the house that you bought to fix something else, and then it puts you back on paying, you know, you stay into the loan longer and all of that stuff. And that is a rat race in itself. You're still trying to pay off a house that you seem to can't never pay off because something's always breaking down on it, and you don't make enough to just pay it out in cash. So that's the scenario. And
so you think the government established the wheel?
Yeah.
I think
of course.
they're the ones that spin it.
Yeah, and the minimum wage has not been risen for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So why isn't that? Why haven't they, you know, made an executive order or something saying, okay, we're going to put it up here? Because if you do, then it's kind of like, I always look at, if you gave everybody $1 million, who's going to bag the groceries? Who's going to go and get the carts? Who's going to pave the roads? If you gave everybody $1 million, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to stay at home. I'm not doing anything.
Whoever blows their $1 million the first.
I'm saying, but that's going to happen. But some people might just actually move out the country, or some people might actually not do something to where they don't have to go back to work. And it takes a lot of that. And then the initial thing that happens is people just stop working. Because now you don't have to worry about rent. You can kind of just be like, all right, I ain't got to pay rent for a while. I pay up rent for the whole year or whatever it is. And then everything stops. So you couldn't technically, I mean, you could do it technically, but what will happen is you'll get a lot. It'd be less crime, I would say. I would think it'd be less crime because people wouldn't really need to
Steal.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of stuff that you won't see people having to do that they do now because they don't have the money. But then you have people that the roads are starting going crazy. Police ain't out there doing what they're doing. Fires are happening, but people aren't, they're not, stuff isn't being, people aren't really doing what they were doing before because now they don't have to worry about bills and stuff like that. So they keep it low just so that you have just enough that you got to go back and get more.
What would you say?
That's what they do.
Like
I was about to say something else. But you gonna ask me another question?
Say what you gotta say.
Say what you gotta say.
No, I was gonna say that I remember when I used to work in a grocery store, and yeah, even like the people who were like managers, they still needed like government assistance, and that was to me that it kind of stood out. Like you're a manager, but you still need government assistance because you're not getting paid enough. And I always thought it was noteworthy to me that, even at that point, it's like you would think that as a manager that you would kind of be on the path of getting out of the rat race a little bit. But like you said, the way people are getting paid, it's just not enough. It's not enough to sustain. You need multiple jobs sometimes, especially if you have a bigger family, children. And then also you don't really have the education either, because I remember like even just going to school, like you get basic education in school, like it is, but as far as like detailed things that you would like really need, like specific things, I wish they would go a little further with certain things to kind of prepare us to be an adult.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's rough.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure it out. Then a lot of times they try to push college. And but that also puts people further in debt.
There you get it.
And I know people who they probably graduate college, get their degree, find a career, and they finally finish paying off their school loan when they're like 50 or 60 years old.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a step further.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say like I think it's a two-way, or I say there's two things that cause this issue. One is the government. We already talked about that. But I think the other one is some of it, a lot of it, I say is self-inflicted. So let's say kind of like what you were just mentioning, Jeremiah, like how somebody, they become a manager, or there's some people that are above them. They may be like the district manager or the CFO. And for some reason, when you have a conversation with them, for some reason, they're still financially struggling. You're like, how? You're the CFO. I'm just the guy bagging the groceries or whatever. I know that if you're the CFO, you're getting paid more money than I am. But I think it's also people just aren't financially sad. They're not financially literate. Because then I think what most people do is I'll use an example. Like if you were somebody bagging groceries, you slowly start making your way up the ladder in the grocery store or whatnot. What they'll do is if they make it to a manager, now they may end up making, let's say, $15,000 more than what they were before. But rather than them be like, you know what, I'm gonna sit there and save this money. I'm gonna go and put this money into, some stocks or, some bonds or whatever it is, so I can, grow that money. Or maybe not even investing it. They're just like, you know what, I'm gonna save that money. And I'm gonna keep living as if I never got that pay increase. What they do is they say, no, you know what, I'm a manager, and I need to live a lifestyle like a manager should. So then they go out there and they get themselves a new car or a luxury car. Now, whatever pay increase they done had is wiped off the entire table, because now you got a new bill that you got to pay for, and an expensive one at that. So then they're like, okay, no, I'm struggling again. You know what? I need to go and try and make it so I can be a district manager. They finally end up hitting district manager. Then they're like, you know what? I should start living the lifestyle like a district manager should. And then they go and move out of whatever apartment they were in. They buy themselves some nice luxury condo. And then that pay increase is wiped off the entire table. So now they're constantly chasing this lifestyle which kind of keeps them also in that, you know, the rat race we're talking about.
Yeah, but the thing I would say with that is it's two different things though, because I think it's like what I was saying before. I don't think it's self-inflicted. It is self-inflicted, but not in the way that I would see as someone actually just doing something that's self-inflicted. Like we do stuff like, you know, smoke cigarettes or drinking or something like maybe that's self-inflicted. And it could be addicting and all the other stuff, but it's definitely doing more harm. But we're aware of the causes of what that is. Like we're aware that, you know, smoking causes certain things and drinking causes certain things. The thing with you're saying that I don't think that I would put in that category is because sometimes you're not aware of what you can do. So, you know, stocks, for instance, like the lower you are, the lesser you're involved in stocks. It's not something that's just normal for you. Like us growing up, we didn't really just think of like, oh, let me go buy some shares. You know, you get a job, you're not thinking of stocks at all. We hear it on news and stuff. It's boring. You know, we don't think of it as, hey, that's something we should do. That is not ingrained in us. It's not taught to us how to get involved in it. What does it do? What is a stock? We're not educated in that field. So when you get money, the first thing you think of is, okay, yeah, you want to enjoy life. It's not really, oh, let me postpone my happiness and put it off into the future and put it in this share or this stock that may appreciate later on. It is instant gratification because we're humans. Like, but at the base level, we're animals just like anybody else. We want to enjoy and, you know, and live life to an extent, and to postpone that is like, you know, you don't know how long you're going to be here. So what we do is live for the moment. We don't think about what happens in the future until you get a little older. You're like, dang, man, retirement. What am I going to do? And then it starts to kick in, and you still may not even be aware of all the other things you can do. Because what happens is your job will give you a 401k and you believe the 401k is enough. Or your job may give you a pension and you feel like the pension will be enough. But you don't know what the future is going to be with the government. The government may say, you know, we're going to, you know, now like to retire now with Social Security. Social Security used to be enough that all you needed to have. And now Social Security ain't enough.
No.
So you don't know what the future may hold. And then whatever you're putting into your 401k today may not be enough for you to retire later. So what happens is it's really not self-inflicted in the sense of you're knowing what the consequences are. It is really you doing something just to enjoy life, because it feels like the poor can't enjoy life. If the lower you are on a totem pole, you don't get to have kids because you don't make enough money.
Yeah.
You don't get to go on vacation because you don't make enough money. You can't have nice things because you don't make enough money. And that becomes a scenario where, like, how come we can't enjoy life because we don't know how long we're going to be here, but you can enjoy life because you got all the money. It seems unfair.
Yeah.
And I'm with them. The only thing is that we almost are in a space where we have to postpone that stuff because the reality is they're not going to give us anything.
But you know where a lot of people go wrong though with?
Hold on, let me finish my thought before I forget. But that is the thing, is like we have to postpone it because of, if we don't, it's worse for us and our children because we don't have nothing to pass to them, and they're going to have to start this rat race from the very bottom, and they're not going to be educated if we don't do the things that we do today. So that part, I feel like, yeah, I don't think it's self-inflicted in the same way. Then the other part where Jeremiah was mentioning, where, you know, the district manager or something like that, you think once you become a manager and they're on public assistance, it's almost baked into every job too.
Yeah.
So the person all the way up at the top, CEO making billions of dollars, is like, how do we keep people around? The thing about having something, if I had all the water in the world right here, I can't give you enough to live on water for the rest of your life because you don't need to come back to me. You can just take your water and move away. But if I give you just enough for the week, you got to come back and get some more water. They could do that. Well, you know, these people are making so much money. I think I was like seeing a thing where they say to count to 1 trillion. Even if you started back when Adam and Eve started counting, you still wouldn't be at $1 trillion if you started counting, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's how much money some of these companies have.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they trickle it out. Okay, you get $1. You're going to need another $1, so you got to come back. If we give you so much that you won't even come back to your job, it hurts them. So what they do is anytime that there's, say the government enforced a higher minimum wage, what they'll probably do is just increase prices.
Mm-hmm.
So that you feel like you got more money, but all the prices just met you where you was at. You got that $1 increase. Okay, we're going to raise prices to that $1. It's almost just like you being back at whatever $1 you was at before. And this becomes a thing, and people aren't aware of this. People kind of just think like, oh, look, I make $20 now. But think about what $20 was like
way back
Yeah.
when.
not
90s,
even way back
90s.
then. Not even way back then. Like think 5 years ago. You could make $20 an hour before COVID, and you can live in a nice luxury apartment. You make $20 now, you can live in the same apartment in the hood, and it's $15, $1,500 for rent. You're like, yo, what? That $20 don't mean nothing now.
That's
You
what
know
I
what
was
I'm saying?
actually gonna say is like inflation. That's another thing people don't think about. Like, because I remember not too long ago, it was happening to everybody. Actually, it was like the rent started and it was not too long after COVID, believe it or not. Like the rents and mortgages of places just start skyrocketing.
Yep.
So it's like regardless of like how much you were making. I remember the place I was staying in. It was like, for no reason at all, it went up. The rent had went up like $500.
That's ridiculous.
I could still pay it, but I'm like,
That's ridiculous.
well, the flooring hasn't changed. They ain't come in here and put no tile down. They ain't nothing. But the rent went up, and then you were
still laid in the walls.
Yep.
Yeah, and then it's like, I remember, what was it? Like you were saying, like 5 years ago, maybe a little longer than that. Cars, like the average car was like $30,000. Nowadays, it's like 67 grand. And you're like, wait a minute, you're paying 67 grand for like a Dodge.
Yeah.
But then it's like that was the cost of what it was probably like for a Mercedes.
And
like,
you don't think about this, but I like I said, this go back to the conspiracy theory.
mm-hmm.
But this is what I believe, right? I might be the conspiracy believer. You know, I'm the believer in conspiracy. I don't believe in all conspiracy theories, but this government, corporation, union thing is like, to me, like more realistic than anything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems as though, because what happened was, this is what I remember during COVID. Once people started, it was like the great resignation. That's what they were calling it.
Mm-hmm.
People were leaving their jobs. They were going home. They were working from home. People started learning a skill or whatever. They weren't going back to work. And so they said, okay, then you seen jobs start. Hey, now we're going to give you a pay increase. That's when you started seeing people getting more raises. Oh, this one now, you work at McDonald's, you get $17 an hour. Oh, I don't know what it is at McDonald's, but you're getting raises. Huh?
So not 17.
I don't know. I seen a place where, like at Chick-fil-A, where you get $20 an hour or something.
I was
like
like,
that.
I'm in the wrong job.
But I'm just saying is that you seen
Yeah.
corporations giving raises. But what happened was, because even Dollar Tree went up to $1 plus.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just $1 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened was the government said inflation.
Mm.
Oh, it's inflation. It's like, oh, what a coincidence. Inflation happens just when they start giving everybody more money. It's like, it seems as though y'all talked in the back room and said, hey, we're going to give them $1. Don't worry. We're going to blame it on inflation.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to blame it on inflation. Don't worry. You can give them $1, but you're still going to make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
We're just going to say it's inflation. And then people start saying, yay, I got money. And they start going around and they like, look, I got this much more money. I make this much. And then you start, oh, inflation. Sorry. That money you got, it doesn't matter. You know, your rent is now 16. I know it was 1,000, but now it's 16. And I know we didn't do anything to fix your flooring and all this stuff. Hey, look, that's just this inflation. It's like, what? How's inflation have anything to do with living in an apartment? Nothing's inflated. I'm living in the same place. Nothing's changed. You didn't buy anything. I thought inflation only affect groceries and goods that we get from the store. Them living in a place. But you're saying this place is now inflated because of it just seemed like they put inflation on everything. Oh yeah, that shirt you're wearing, it's inflated now. Like what happened?
Yeah.
You know, this is already here. Some of the stuff was already in the stores and the stocked in the back room. No one was buying. But now that one, even though it's here, you couldn't just sell this off at regular rate. No, everything we have that still exists, the food you was just you had a piece of food in your hand about to before you go, we got to put this new sticker on it. It's inflated now. Now you got like stuff like that.
You already bought this.
Now I get the farmers and stuff. They got to pay for their feed for their animals and all that stuff. The groceries, the people to keep up their farms and things that live in the United States. They got to pay something to somebody to keep their place going. I get that. So maybe there's inflation imposed on them. But these companies, that like the real estate places and stuff like that, the places that's been here for forever, like your apartments that's been there for like 20 something years. How's that inflation? What happened? How did inflation hit you? Like what happened? You know what I mean? It was just an excuse for y'all to raise every price of every apartment everywhere. And what happens is the government, like I said, it seemed as though it was kind of connected because it's happened so close to when COVID hit, everybody resignated. Okay, we're going to raise prices. And we're going to give y'all raises. This is when all the raises happened and everybody came back to work. And then simultaneously, inflation happened. And then we say, oh, it's COVID. I was like, man, you know, it's conspiracy. I can't prove this. All I know is what I've seen. I've seen this happen like kind of like back to back. It's kind of like, and it always happens. Every time a president's about to be involved, something happens. COVID happens, swine flu happens. Some catastrophe is about to happen. Oh, the economy is going down with the bank thing with Obama. Then Donald Trump, we got something, the immigration thing, or it's always a war is happening or something. That's just to get people reelected, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm a conspiracy person, and I'm also getting off topic. So, but yeah,
going on a rant. Y'all right?
A little bit. I'm a little frustrated with it, you know.
But I was gonna say too. I also think that it's a mental thing too, because the whole rat race is like, I don't know if the government, commercialism, whatever. Like, I feel like that has to be the first thing to change when somebody would like to get out of the rat race, which is their mindset. I remember when I was younger and I used to work at a tire shop. And it used to be this guy, he would have a new car every 3 months. It would be like just decked out. It would, you know, rims, TVs in the headrest. And, you know, he all the time. And so I remember talking to him and he was like, you know, he had that YOLO kind of like mindset where you only live once. He was like, now, you know, I don't have no extra money. I'm in debt. But I'm going to drive every car I want to drive. I'm going to live how I want to live. I'm going to be happy and stuff like that. And that was kind of resonated with me, you know, when I was like just a young adult, which, you know, if y'all think about it, makes sense to me. Because that's kind of how I live life. Like, you know, like I live like I have more money than what I have. So, you know, no. No. But it's like, you know, but as you know, because you talk about it with me a lot of times, like, you know, I'm going to go on my trips. I'm going to, you know, wear I want to wear. I'm going to get the, you know, the clothes. Like, when y'all first met me, I was like, I would spend my whole check on like an outfit or whatever. This, you know, this not reflection now because like I'm chilling now, but you know, I'm old. But at that time, like I would spend a whole like check on an outfit, whatever, shoes, out trips. I would, you know, we talked about it recently. Like I'd be eating out at all the restaurants, where I could just cook. You know, like it's a mindset that I was, you know, that I have to change. That's why I'm in the process right now. Like, you know, I'm trying to adjust my mindset because it starts here first. If you know, to even recognize the rat race, recognize your position in it, and recognize like the things that you need to change that was kind of like embedded in you as a person.
It's not your fault though, you know. It starts when you're young. Like even those people like we talking about, there's a lot of people my age that still live like that. And it's not with the gambling, like the sports betting and stuff like that. I see every young people doing it. I ain't never remember this, like it being that ingrained. Now it's on your phone and people are betting. They're betting the whole check, you know what I'm saying, on sports betting. And it's getting out of control. But it starts young, you know. we weren't taught that. We didn't really have anything. So when you don't have anything, when you start getting money to get stuff, then you start splurging. But we also, it was also just not told to us. Say our parents couldn't do like invest and things like that. They couldn't invest. Plus they didn't know how to invest neither. So it's also an education of like a changing of mind. I always be like, ignorance on the definition of ignorance is really where everybody is at. You get to a point where you're really ignorant to what you could do and how these rich people will get rich and how they got money working for them and things like that. And once you're aware of it, it's still hard because you still see things and you still want things. It's still hard. But once you're aware of it, it's harder to kind of not see it a certain way. So like once you start knowing, like, okay, hey, I could buy this share, say you get a Fortune 500, VOO or whatever, you invest in that, you over time put money into it, you do dollar cost average, you put some money in there every paycheck and you see it grow and you're like, wow, I'm making this much money and I'm going to work. Obviously that stuff is already dedicated to bills. But then you see another side of it. You're like, whoa, all this time I could have been doing this. It's different in your mind. Now you start to say, I need to do this more. Or maybe I need to tell somebody about it. But it's not big enough at this point to where you know enough people, unless you're in a circle where you're just that's all y'all talking about. But once you're in that know, it's harder to kind of like say, I didn't know. And then you just continue to live the life. But obviously people do this all the time. Once you know a consequence, you still like, I don't care. I want to enjoy whatever it is. So that still is going to happen. But I think if you start younger, it's better because you have a longer time to appreciate on that stuff. So like, you start when you're 20 and then you get to your 30s and you've been investing the entire time. You're better off than someone that's 30 and they start, you know what I'm saying? So it's somewhat of a scenario where we have to be in a mindset. And it has to be taught early enough. Yeah. Give people the option. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, if people are still going to do what they're going to do, but at least give people the option of knowing what that is so they can make that decision. Now, if they don't, then they'll be like, okay, now you can really say y'all just want to be where where y'all are at. But if you give people an option, you say, hey, look at this, and you show them, and you be like, hey, you see how this works? And you're like, wow, that's amazing. I could do that. And then they start doing it, then you might see more of a drift somewhere else because gambling is almost the same as the stock market a little bit. You're not really sure on every stock that you're going to buy, but there's stuff that's guaranteed money. There's stuff that's been around for long periods of time. They've been successful as a company, and if you invest in these things, and also stuff that you see coming up that you might be the next thing, like AI and things like that, and companies that are already involved in that. Things like that. I don't go too far into that stuff, but there are things like that. Once you see it, and they already have a track record of being successful, maybe you should probably invest in those things, and then start out with that. And then move on to other stuff. As time progresses, things start changing. Robotics gets more, popular. But before it gets there, of course, try to see the market before it gets to that point where that's where everybody's going. And if you get there early, you'll be a lot more successful. And that's why I feel like we're behind the curve because we weren't there. And not to big up Elon or anything, but we wasn't aware of stuff like that when Tesla was blowing up. So if you bought a Tesla stock when it was just became public on the stock market, you be very successful today. But we're late to that. So now in order to get a one share of a Tesla stock, it's like $600 or something like that. It's harder for you to get into it. So the earlier the better the better opportunities you have. And I feel like it's just something that we, as especially black people, I always keep speaking towards us because out of all the people in the rat race, we're probably the furthest behind. You see the gap between white income and black income is so huge that even if we started today, it'll be a long time before we can catch up. And so I feel like for us, it's something that's really important that we get on that train a lot sooner than anyone else, So
I say there's a lot of things at play when it comes to the rat race. Like what we kind of already been discussing. It's like, first off, most people don't know where to start. I would say actually at this point in time in history, this is probably like the easiest time to do it. Now, of course, we ain't promoted by any of these companies I'm about to mention, that I'm about to mention. But like everything nowadays is like an app. Robinhood does stocks. Before you had to
Weeble.
find or Weeble, before you had to find a stockbroker, call them and all that stuff, set up accounts. Nowadays, download a Weeble or
Acorn.
Robinhood or Acorn if you want to get into stocks and ETFs, and then you just connect your debit card or your bank account and just put a little bit in there every time you get paid. Or crypto, there's Coinbase.
Oh, be careful with that.
And yeah, I'm just saying, there are risks in all types of investments.
Yeah, don't invest more than what you're willing to lose.
Yeah, but just an app. Download it, and of course do research and stuff before you ever start putting money in stuff. But then I'd say there's that. And then kind of like where you were saying, there's certain patterns that people have developed since childhood. There's some people that genuinely want to get out the rat race. They just don't know how to. And then there's some people, I'm just going to say, they're just lazy. And they just want people to do it for them. Because, like, I'll go up to people and I'm like, hey, you know what? You could get into X, Y, and Z and this and this and this. And you'll see their face and really? Wow, that's interesting. And then after that, they just go about their life, nothing changed. But then there's some people you talk to, and then they be like, hey, can you show me where that's at? And you sit there and show them on your phone, and they actually start doing some stuff.
Because it is a learning curve involved, because also it's a want involved. So I always look at it like this. There's things that, like, I as a person, I'll know what my strategy is. If I told you my strategy, you might be like, oh, that's a good strategy. But you won't know how to achieve it as good as I will, or even be motivated to do it as much as I am, because that's just my strategy. It's in my mind. I know the ins and outs, where to go. I'm going to put mine here. I'm going to put my thing there, and I'm going to get there like this. If I told you it, you might be interested, but you might be like, man, I don't know nothing about his thing.
You say I wouldn't have the conviction.
Yeah, you won't have the conviction to do it the way that you want. Even if it's correct, you might be like, you're so passionate about it that you've done the research, you've done all of the ins and outs to make sure that you was prepared to do what you're going to do. If you told it to somebody, they might just be like, oh, that sounds cool, but they didn't do any of the research. It's fun. Like, like, for instance, we're doing this podcast. Like, if to do this, it takes a level of, like, a want. You might have a certain way that you want it. Mm-hmm. You might see a certain vision for it.
But they don't see your vision.
Yeah, not everybody's going to see the vision. So the thing is that you might have done the research. Okay, maybe I do it this way, and this is how I get the views, and you're doing all of this stuff in your mind to tell somebody else that may not know that stuff or done the research. They're going to be like, just turn the camera on. And you can just turn the camera on, but I think the better thing to do anything is if you do your research, and we be on the same page. You can see where I'm coming from. You can see where I got the information that I got. And I think that is part of the other thing, is that you got to be in the space of where you want it just as much as the other person wanted it. Because you see it a certain way, because you've done all your research. You've done all of the things that you needed to do to be involved in it. And that's why I say we need to start young, because some of the stuff that we do now, like even working, like regular work, we go to a job, and a lot of people have a particular job that they want to do, like, customer service, or, it's a particular job, But to get to that job, you clock in, you sign the application, all of that stuff takes some required. Okay, it's easy. It's somewhat you kind of just fill out application, you get the job. And maybe people might be okay with just base level understanding. I'll just be come in here, get my $16 and go home. And that's it, But then somebody might want to move up or whatever, then they'll probably learn another skill or whatever it is. But it has to be taught to us. And I think our parents always tell us, like, they taught us to an extent just to become a worker. Not their fault, but it's just that's what they've always done. Yeah, that's all they know. So I think if it's taught to us just to become a worker, it can also be taught to us just to invest, start learning to invest. Like, here, get to a certain age, you start getting allowance or whatever. Put some of this here, put some of this there. This is how you go about doing this. This is how we do such and such and such. Now, at a certain age, you're not going to be able to absorb why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if you do it over time, you'll be like, I just always done this. This is just like, we get up and go to work every day. It's just something my grandfather did. He got up, gone to work. But my mom's done it. So you just know to do it. But that's because that's how we've seen our parents do it. So I think if we started like that, teaching our children to be financially
literate.
Yeah, be literate financially. Then it'll be a different thing for them. They'll just be doing things that they may not know fully what it's doing, but I think it's that, over time, like I said, we do it 401k. You do 401k.
Yeah, that's another
your
way.
Your 401k, but I'm saying, but that's kind of passive. Your job sets you up with 401k. Now you could get intricate and say, I want a Roth IRA. I mean, a Roth 401k, or if they give you a choice to kind of move your money how you want it. I want to put it in this stock or whatever it is. If there's companies that allow you to do that, then that's different. But some people are just okay with the company doing what it's doing. Like, okay, you do all of that. I'll just keep coming in and doing my job. I'll put more money in there, but that's all I'm doing. They're not willing to do all the extra work that somebody else in the company has to do. And so that's a different thing. So, but I think it's just being educated, on stuff like that.
I got a question for both of y'all. If y'all were able to get out of the rat race, what would you want to do? Like, what would you do at that point? Because you wouldn't be working.
Well, I got laughed at last time I said what I wanted to do. So, go to Jeremiah first.
I was gonna say, who did that?
Joey and Jeremiah.
Oh, okay.
When you wanted to become Thanos and just live off the land after he snapped everybody, he just wanted to just be in the field growing fruit and vegetables. That's what you said, right? You said you wanted to be a Thanos.
Oh, I never said Thanos.
No, I'm talking about like the life he lived after he snapped everybody.
But when you say Thanos, it makes people like, oh, he's evil.
But
or
I
something.
explained.
No, don't say Thanos. Why can't I just be an old man on the land? I gotta be Thanos.
He did say kill half the population.
Yeah,
I'm like,
once you put after he did that,
once you put me in the frame as Thanos, snapping off
when the Thanos, because like before Thanos, he was like da 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 da. He was fighting and da da da.
But
after he killed half of the universe,
I don't want to be Thanos.
Okay. Are you sure?
No.
You seem Thanos, but
I ain't saying
you seem Thanos, but
okay, yeah, I want to hear what Matt's idea.
That's what he wanted to do.
No,
he
let him go.
Everybody.
I didn't say it. No, see,
I didn't. Because he wanted to be by himself, nobody else around.
I never said that. Never said that.
Let's hurry up and hear your answer, because I want to hear what his answer was.
I just told you.
No, I mean, his own words. This sounds juicy.
No,
it doesn't sound juicy. That was it. He just want to be in the field.
Let him go first.
I mean, y'all kind of know what I like. I like to travel, so I just, I rat race, being able to afford to be able to just do what I want to do without having to worry about can I afford it. Like the other night, I was out to eat, and I had to kind of like make life decisions. Like, am I gonna be able to afford an appetizer with this meal? Am I gonna be able to get a cocktail? I had to think about life decisions, because it's like, my money is not as long as as I would like it to be.
Okay.
So yeah, I just want to be able to have the freedom to do whatever I want to do. Just put it on my card, not think about it, or swipe. Now
I will say that's a really good feeling. Kind of like when people get their tax, because that's I guess that's the only realistic time where you can actually say, okay, I've had a taste of what that's gonna feel like, is when people get their tax money. Yeah. Like, they just be going to restaurants. They be like, oh, okay, man, we got the filet mignon. That's gonna be $34. Oh, yes, just take my card. Yes, I've got it. That feels nice. Yeah. So I can see how that would be nice. But Matt, what was your answer?
It's basically what he said.
Thanos.
I said what he said, but him and Joey.
Thanos part.
No, I said I want to just be able to do what I want to do. Him and Joey twisted into Thanos, and
I'm saying
stuff.
Thanos.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But
Joey, I mean, how did you get?
I
Thanos?
said they said I wanted to be eating
that's what he said.
Grapes. I never said
he wanted
anything.
to be in the field. He wanted to grow his own vegetables.
No, I didn't say that neither.
He wanted to have his own farm.
That's what I said. If all things considered, I wanted. It's about challenges. By the way, this is if y'all want to revert back to where this conversation was about the challenge situation on the episode with him and Joel. It was I said, I don't want no challenges. And then I said, if I could just live off the land, that's what I would do. I didn't say nothing about snapping people away and all that stuff.
That's not the important part.
Because I'm saying the challenge part, I don't want any challenges. The only reason why we had challenges is because they imposed challenges on you.
Yeah, I got it.
But if I don't care for money at all, be honest. I feel like it's just a way to keep people moving and working. That's what money is for.
Let me borrow something.
I said, we have to use money. So that's what I'm saying. That's the only reason why I have to worry about money. But I'm saying, for real, I don't care for money, but it's a way for them to make us keep working.
I take it off your hands.
But see, he's not understanding.
I take it off your hands.
Saying.
Yeah, if you don't want it,
that's not what I said. See, he just.
I just want you to be happy.
Hopefully, y'all understand what I'm saying.
I just want you to be happy, man.
And he, you're not like him. But either way, no, I want to live how just without any worries. I can wake up and just feel like I could just do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. And that's it. Be left alone if I want to be left alone. For the most part, just leave me alone. But that's basically it. I mean, right now we are tethered to the dollar.
Job. Yeah.
And we have no choice because if we don't, we die. And that's so.
Well, I would say, like, for me, it's like, I have to agree. I would say a lot with Matt's idea. I would have to agree a lot with Matt's idea.
Oh, that's different.
Because my thing is that, like, just being able to wake up, like, especially, like, there's little parts in life, like, where you get little tastes of what it would feel like. Like, if you had a week off from work or whatever, and then you just wake up whenever you want to wake up. And then you just think about it, you're like, you know what? There's nothing I actually have to do today.
Yeah.
There's nowhere I actually have to be today.
Yeah.
If I wanted to just sit here and stare at the ceiling all day, which would be very boring, but if you wanted to do it, I could.
Yeah.
Or if I wanted to just go down to the beach or do whatever it is, I could actually do that. Or if there was something that you actually wanted, like I said, the thing when people get their tax money, let's say somebody that got $10,000 back in your taxes, like and then you're like, you go to any restaurant you want, and you know that whatever it is on their menu, you can afford it. You're not even looking at prices; you're just looking at what the food is. Yeah. Then you're just like, I want that. Yeah. And you don't even think about it when you have to swipe your card. You just, oh, here's my card. Yeah. It's like, that would be a great feeling. Now, as far as like how they get there, that's the part we're kind of talking about. And
that's the challenge because it's a mindset. Like, for instance, we have the upper people, the government, all of these things that tell you what you need to do. And it's really the government and your job or the higher ups. That's who's doing pulling the puppet strings and stuff like that. So with the situation, we had a conversation about the challenges last time. That's basically where I think it's coming from. It's because they tell us what we need to do as men and women at the bottom. Like, as a man, you need to do this. As a woman, you need to do this. And they got us fighting over what makes us what. And to say that we need these things, and if you don't do it, then you're not that thing. It's kind of like, see, that's what we want. It's all the people to believe that they have to do this thing. And I feel like that's the problem right there, because those people ain't doing what they're telling us that we need to do to be men and stuff like that. You think those people out there chopping wood and working and stuff, those people all the way at the top aren't doing anything. Right now, they're probably on a boat somewhere or on vacation or doing whatever they want to do, and then telling us, in order to be a man, you need to get out and go to work. It's like, well, they're not doing that. The government people, the people in the government, they're not getting out to go to work. They're going out and they're putting on a show. They get into the house and they're arguing over here. And I'm for the people. And they're, no, you're not. I'm for the people. And we're like, oh, see, they're fighting for us. No, they're not. Both sides.
So I would say,
what I'm just saying is that that's the thing, is that they tell us what we need to do to be men and women at the bottom, but then they ain't doing none of the stuff that we're doing.
So I would say, how can we simply put it to the viewers as far as what we think the solutions to get out of the rat race would be.
Can I name 2 things?
Sure. You know what?
I was
I'm
gonna
glad you
raise my
volunteered.
hand because
Yes,
it's really hard
Jeremiah
to
in the
get
back row.
a word in. I would say the first thing is change your mentality. Yes, it is. It's hard to get a word in. Like I said, what you confused about?
He gave you the space.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, what I
No, he said Jeremiah. I said go to Jeremiah first. Then you start making fun of me, trying to drag me into the conversation. I said go to Jeremiah. You start saying call me Thanos. He said Jeremiah. So what is your idea? And he sat there and let you talk.
I'm trying to talk now. Now you're trying to make it. You know.
No, because you tried to say that we weren't letting you talk.
This is not.
Go ahead, boy. Go ahead.
Yeah, get the change your mental. I think a lot of like I said, I work at a bank. I really like when parents bring their children into the bank and they start accounts, and try to teach their children how to, they're really young, how to save money and stuff like that. So I really like that. So education. Develop the mentality, education. I think we lived in a certain time periods where people when they got information and became successful, they kept secret what they did. And I just felt like if you're successful, educate people. So those are the only 2 things I was gonna say. Just on the mindset and educate.
I'll give my 2. Well, I probably got 3.
I'm sure.
The first, what's that supposed to mean?
Go ahead. Yeah, proceed, please.
Proceed.
So, first one is kind of piggybacking off one of the things you said, educating yourself. Like, if you got that one person that's coming over to trying to show you or talk to you about like how to do that stuff, definitely listen to what input they may have, and always remember you got a supercomputer in your pocket. Like, it's not there just for TikTok videos and Instagram posts. I mean, you got all humanity's knowledge in there. Watch a YouTube video or something and research whatever it is that that you're curious about, and that'll kind of make you feel a little bit more comfortable with whatever investment venture, if it is investing or whatever financial strategy you got. Second, I'd say everybody's strapped for cash right now. So it's like, but there's some simple things that people can do if they are willing to make the sacrifices for it. Sometimes just minimizing your expenses. You may not need to get that Starbucks coffee every morning. That's probably like what I don't go to Starbucks, but hey, it's still money you can actually still put to the side. You gotta think if a Starbucks coffee costs $5, for example. Again, I don't know if that's what it costs because I don't drink Starbucks. But if you're drinking that like every day of the week for work, by the end of the month, you've done spent over $100 on just coffee. That's money that could be saved. And then the last one, I'd say, like what Matt was kind of explaining, with the government and stuff, inflation. If there's 2% on average inflation every year, find things you can put your money into that pays an interest rate of more than 2%. Because, the regular savings account, not even 1% interest. So, find something. It could be stocks or crypto if you want that type of risk on your plate, or a high yield savings or something. But find something that, provides an interest rate of more than 2%. That way your money's outgrowing the cost of inflation.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, both of y'all had some really good ideas.
Well, thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Used to that compliments. That's nice.
You're welcome.
Made you feel warm and fuzzy inside?
It did.
It's a genuine compliment too.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I think that for me, I would agree with Danny with the live below your means, especially if you want to still do things. I don't think we should, just because we don't have the money and we're not rich, we should be just going to work and coming home. If you want to still do that, you still live below your means in the sense of like an apartment that, maybe $2,000 a month for rent, maybe don't get that. If you can get a place that's cheaper, still has a 2-bedroom, still keeps you out of the elements outside, get something like that. Live below your means so that you can still go on those vacations that you want to do for your kids and buy them certain things. Like I said, it's all in moderation. Everything, you shouldn't just go overboard with just investing unless you can do that or you want, and that's what your strategy is. But I don't believe in people just living life and then paying bills and stuff like that. And I also don't believe that just because you're poor, you can't do anything. You still enjoy your life, but just be mindful of the system that's around you and what it's doing to keep you in that space. Once you're aware, I think it's a lot easier for you to do the right thing, which is setting up your future to where you're going to be setting something up for your children and for your own retirement if you just so happen to get there, because, we don't know how long you're going to be here or whatever. But I also agree with the education part. Is educate yourself, A lot of people our age at this point, we're kind of already doing what we're doing. We're kind of so far into a space of where could you really do anything to change your outcome towards retirement? I think you can, but it's just, if you start earlier, it's better. For us, we really just have to be really proactive on making sure investments that we put our money in is good ones. We can't really take the risk as someone that's younger. You might put your money into something that's a little bit risky and it might wind up paying off, but you can take the risk when you're younger. When you're older, you can't take those risks. So we got to be more strategic with what we do. So advice, I would just put that out to younger and older people. Those are the different strategies you should have. Also, I would say check out what an asset and liability is. Really focus and learn what that is. A lot of people don't know the difference between assets and liabilities. I think that's probably the thing you probably should start with is assets and liabilities. Look in your life and see what's an asset and what's a liability. The quickest way to run through it is if you're driving your car and you're making payments on your car, that's a liability. If you have a house and you live in your house and you're paying for your rent and all this other stuff, or you're paying for mortgage and things like that, that's a liability. If you have a house, you're renting it out, that's an asset. If you have a car and you're renting it out or it's bringing in income, that's an asset. So just learning what those assets and liabilities are will help with your investment strategy. Whatever you're spending your money on, is it going to be an asset or is it going to be a liability? So that's about all I got for that.
All of these great answers.
Yep. So I think we should wrap it up. I think that we kind of, this is informative. I think it's something that us, and like I said, I'm a homie no more so on the African American community, but this applies to every community that is in a situation of where they're at the bottom of society. Not at the bottom of it, but if we're in the rat race, if you're going to work 9 to 5 and you're struggling paycheck to paycheck, or you feel like you're in this loop, this cycle of just paying bills or doing the everything, and it's like it feels like you can't get out of it. This is a good way to kind of get people informed about something like that. A way out is a way out. We just got to be more educated on things. So I think this conversation was a good conversation to have.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So we're going to wrap it up here. We appreciate y'all tuning in to our show. We thanks to supporters. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we'll have more entertaining conversations. Sometimes we'll have educational, more informative and conversations like this one. But we thank you. Thank you for your support.
And thanks for coming, Daniel.
Oh,
And thanks to Daniel for showing up once again to the show.
oh, thanks for having me.
He's welcome at any time if he wants to come, And that's it. That's going to be it for today. See y'all next time.